For those Pokemon fans out there and those who kept up with the Pokemon lore, remember whenever we had those fan theories and we knew about the war and we understood why they were sending 10-year-olds out to go capture these monsters and train them to fight, and underneath the cute and cuddly aspect of Pokemon, we realized that they were eating Pokemon and that there had to be guns, but we kept it all in our heads and it was something that we told people and fans and friends. Well, Palworld says fuck it and screw your fan service. We're gonna do the real deal. We're gonna make all those weird dreams come true. With over 2 million, okay, looks like they just went up to 4 million in the first couple. Oh my gosh, 6 million in the first 4 days of the game coming out. Palworld has proven that it is a game that a lot of people are playing, and most of them are actually enjoying it. But why? If there's one thing I've always appreciated about the gaming industry is how the competitiveness has allowed them to steal from one another and innovate ideas into better ideas, taking something that was cool in one game but making it better, more efficient, and more fun, the most important part, in another game. Palworld does this to a great degree, taking all the little things that itch your brain in just the right way and allowing you to just have a fulfilling experience. There is a survival mode aspect of the game, something that we've loved since Minecraft. There's also the free gacha experience where you can go and discover new types of creatures and monsters without being stuck behind a paywall. And last but not least, the auto farming simulator, which gives you the progress and fulfillment without you actually having to do any of the work. To me, those are the three core pillars of the game, but how they're implemented does a lot more for us as a whole. The survival aspect of the game gives us something to constantly do, the need to strive, to progress, to do better so that our character in game is in a better place of comfort. The game doesn't really do much in terms of anything unique to provide us a survival experience that differs from anything else, and that's completely fine. You have it to where at night it's cold, so you need immediate warmth. You have it to where every once in a while raids are happening, and because the pals take up a lot of the wild animals or experiences, you have it to where there is danger in just exploring and gathering resources. When said out loud, it doesn't sound any different from your average run-of-the-mill survival experience, and I believe that's the point. It's simplistic, it's easy to get into and understand, and whenever you explore to gather those resources, you're always rewarded for your exploration. If you look at a tower or a broken down castle and you go to explore it, you are rewarded and you find something inside of it, which can be used to upgrade your character, increase supplies at the camp. Though I do have to say the most annoying part of the exploration survival aspect of the game has to be the stamina bar. I think ever since Breath of the Wild, a lot of these open world games have been adding stamina bars to things, and Palworld takes it a bit too far, where just about every action you do requires stamina. I'm surprised the act of going to sleep and waking up didn't take any stamina for us. I mean, having to mine resources is stamina, running, climbing, everything requires stamina. Fighting requires stamina, and in some aspects, I'm okay with it, especially in games like Dark Souls where fighting is a huge point in resource management, but in this game where it's just a lot more simplistic and not too many complicated things are happening, having stamina being used for so many things makes it feel more like a hassle than an actual challenging part of the game that adds to the experience. Compare this to Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, and you see that the stamina is only really affected whenever Link is running or traversing through the world, be that climbing or using his glider. Because the game is so simplistic, stamina is not necessarily needed for doing other tasks like fighting. It's more just a traversal thing, and I think Nintendo was really smart about keeping it limited to such things. The next thing I want to talk about is the auto farming that happens in the game. It is most definitely probably the most appealing part to me, considering that I find the survival aspect of games to be kind of niche in their own respect. I know Minecraft is a giant example of how survival games are crazy popular. However, for me, I've never really enjoyed the idea of just constantly grinding and farming for stuff to build on top of the things that I've already have, which is why I love that the more you progress in Palworld, the less you have to do. Taking those cute little cuddly pals and forcing them to be your slaves in a workforce makes for all the more enjoyable while you get to kick back and take some lemonade. Now, in my runtime of playing the game, there were still a lot to do. Even though I got in a good dozen hours into the game and I was able to auto farm some of the more common resources like wood and stone, I still had to go out and gather other resources in order to build other things that needed to be auto farmed. I had basically an unlimited supply of food, yet I was wanting more. Not only that, but other issues would occur, whether it being my pals would get sick or status effects, which led me to having to create more inventory to help them not be so sick and give them medicine, or just the fact that my resources weren't coming in fast enough to upgrade myself to fight even stronger pals that I wanted to capture for myself, or even just do the dungeons that they had set out or the bosses they had set out in the world. So it ended up being a good balance of the auto farming and exploration of the hunting and gathering resources, which leads me to my final and probably the most successful part of the game, of pillar of success that Palworld has to offer, and that's the pals themselves, the Pokemon knockoffs that the Twitter users are very much upset about, that a lot of Pokemon fans are running to Twitter and screaming, saying how they copied it and how it's not fair and it's not okay. But the sales numbers and average players say otherwise, that people just don't care. You give us a good game, you give us a good product, and we're gonna play it. There are a little over 100 pals, I think about 111 of them, and they very much do look like Pokemon. Some are just strikingly similar, if not just copied and pasted over. But to me, this is the most important aspect of the game. It allows us to do everything that I talked about previously. Without the pals, you can't have the auto farming. Without the pals, exploration isn't as fulfilling or successful. There aren't as many like hidden chests or treasures to be found, more or less just pals to be discovered and captured. And capturing pals aren't the only thing you can do in this game. You can capture people as well and enslave them. This game looks like it's E for everyone. It probably pushes the fact that it might be T for teen whenever you see, a little monkey Pokemon holding a gun. But in reality, this game is definitely made for the people who grew up with Pokemon and just wanted more from it. I think by far one of my favorite things to do was I had one too many extra pals, and so I was able to upgrade myself to get a butcher knife, which then allowed me to gruesomely butcher my pal as I called him over to give him a nice little pet, making him think everything was okay, only to use him as resources for the greater good. And it's moments like that, along with giving them guns or being able to ride them immediately after you unlock an upgrade, or how there's constantly new pals that are gradually leveling up, but not only do they level up, but they give better stats and workforce and giving us resources more, or being better and productive at doing things, or being good, multi-talented at different skills. So overall, they're just a better worker than the ones you caught previously, means that the people who made this game definitely had a sight, had a dream. It must have just started with, what happens if we give Pokemon guns? And it later turned into a bunch of other things that they probably liked as gamers, which ends up being something that we like as gamers. There's little things in this game that are a bit annoying, like the bugs and unable to load in, multiplayer not working, or maybe the pals being so dumb that they just walk through the fire over and over again, and you have to move your fireplace in order for them not to burn themselves and burn the rest of your camp down as well. But as simplistic as everything is, it all comes together. It all ends up leaning into itself, feeding itself in a way that is just a great joy of fun, and most importantly, a sense of fulfillment. When you play the game, you keep discovering new things about the game that just put a smile on your face or make you laugh out loud at how ridiculous the situation is. There's no complicated story. There's no nothing great about the graphics. It's just genuine fun. And it's all done through the gameplay. It's done through the level design on how you're gradually building your base while at the same time gradually finding stronger pals, while at the same time discovering how fun it is to add just the smallest dark twist or edgy sense of humor to your childhood nostalgia. That's why Palworld's doing successful, and even though it's a preview, I definitely recommend you join the other 6 million players. Who knows? By the time I put out this video, there's probably going to be like 10 million people playing the game at that point. But it's a great game. Have fun. If I were to rank it right now, I don't even know. I feel like I have to play some more, so take my ranking with a grain of salt, but I definitely would give this game like an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. And until next time, guys, play nice.